Hello, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, our viewers, wherever you are, welcome to our Gurmad program. Today we have here Gavin Shuka, who is a Shadow Ministry of Labour for International and Development. Also we have Safia Al-Atay, who is with her. And I want to big thank to my viewers and a big thank to Kevin. Thank you and welcome to our program today. As you are Shadow Ministry of International Development for UK, what do you know about the current crisis of Somalia? As you know, Somalia is a failed state and suffering for 25 years of conflict, leading to dramatic humanitarian crisis. What kind of development has made for the British government for the last, I say, 25 years?
Well, good afternoon, assalamu alaikum. It's good to be here to talk about Somalia, which is a country I know with really beautiful places, beautiful people, but as you say, riven by conflict in the last 25 years and leading to a situation where it's not just obviously the people that live there presently that are affected, but young people growing up there, whether they're going to have a decent future life job in their own country is in the balance. I mean, what I would say is we're blessed to have a fantastic Somalian community here in the UK,
especially Luton, where you come from.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, as the former MP for Luton South, I know what it's like, the challenges of a growing Somalian community there, but also around lots of different places in the UK, as you know. But they are relentless in telling me about the challenges that are faced there, and I think we've got to live up to our global responsibilities and obligations as well. So I'm the Shadow Minister for International Development. I have responsibility for things such as the deal that we're going to get in 2015 around development around the world, climate change, conflict-affected states such as Somalia. Yeah. These are all really important issues, and they're ones that we as politicians have to face up to. We can't just turn our back on the rest of the world. Tell
me what about Labour Party have done when you are in power? And you know, Somalia had a terrible situation for the last 5 years. The conflict is going on, and the biggest problem now, there is 5,000 Somali refugees in Kenya, and the Kenyan government are trying to take out from these refugees, concerned about their security. What Labour can do if they win for helping these patriots of Somali refugees in Kenya?
Well, I mean, let me say a little bit about our time in office. Obviously, we inherited a budget of about £3 million that was being spent in Somalia. It went up to £30 million by the time that we left office, because we understood that if you didn't do the basics right, tackling the causes of conflict, it's very hard to do any other kind of development, education, jobs, prosperity, etc. What would we say we would do in the future? Well, we're 2 weeks away from a general election today. My hope is that in 2 weeks' time I'll get to do this job in government. Right. And the reason why I hope that is because I think we need to do more amongst conflict-affected states, not least of all Somalia, to help stabilise the region. You mentioned obviously the situation in Kenya and Somalia. We know with the threat of Al-Shabaab and other groups, it's really important that we get the basics right. We protect young people. We make sure that people are growing up with a decent education, decent jobs, decent prosperity, because otherwise things go very badly wrong, and that's what we'll focus on.
Right. I'll give it to you. How can you ensure that the development aid reaches to the vulnerable of Somalians? We know millions has been spent for the last 25 years towards Somalia, but that money hasn't reached the ordinary citizens who need to get help with that.
That's absolutely right. What we need to do is make sure that when we're working with the government, it's a fully inclusive government that's reflective of the whole people of Somalia, not just small cliques or kind of smaller parts there. But we've also got to work with our partners in Africa to help bring that about. I'm painfully aware, despite the historic links between our countries, that sometimes Britain can be, kind of very bold and throw its weight around. Let's work with other nations within Africa as well to help sort out the problems that Somalia has.
When you talk on other nations, which country are you pointing out?
Well, I'm not going to pick one out for kind of understandable reasons, given the political reality there. But there are nations that have a role in stabilising or destabilising Somalia.
Correct.
And we need to work on that.
Okay. What can you add to what I have a question?
As we know, this government has had quite a lot of development also in Somalia. But the way the development aid that reaches in Somalia is double-sided. It creates division. Why can't all Somalis share the development aid from one pot instead of dividing the aid and giving one region directly and the rest of Somali federal government that create in a different amount? That creates division and conflict within Somalis itself. So all the regions of Somalia, we believe, should have in one pot, from one pot, and should be sharing, not be paid one region. For example, Somaliland Development Fund has been directed to only one region, and that region also, the area that it's been earmarked for has not been, the money has not been reaching. So that is one question that I would like to ask.
So what she means, we know Somalia is a big country, and we know that the current government in Mogadishu is not strong, and so how can this aid can reach all parts of Somalia? Because the crisis is severe, and chronic poverty is there. Many young people are out of education, and unless the diaspora money goes into those families, but the international aid doesn't reach exactly in the hands of these people. So how are they going to change the Labour Party? I mean, this time people say, what we're going to gain from Labour Party winning this election? Because we have seen, Cameroon has, already involved in Somalia, and they've done a brilliant job. So when it comes to also Labour Party, what is their pledge? They're going to change,
especially the unity of Somalia.
We're talking about international aid first. What they're going to do? We come back to that question. What they're going to do for Somalis?
Okay, well, I understand the point, and I accept a good part of it. What I would say is you've got to have an administration in which all people have got faith in, in order to make sure that people have got faith that if it's centrally funded, it will reach the parts that need to go to. Now, obviously, we've accepted there are some, there's some historic political realities within the nation, ones that you've alluded to and ones that I would know about. And while that continues, I think it's all right to have a differentiated strategy, but we've got to have a plan to get to a point where it's not differentiated in the same way, where we're equally funding across there. Just to respond, to your broader question about the future offer from Labour, we've been really clear about 2 or 3 things directly related. First of all, around the conflict pool, which is a pool of money that is shared between Defence, DFID and the Foreign Office. We think that's been underfunded. That means that areas such as Somalia lose out. We would refund that, and we want to make sure that we're able to invest particularly in conflict prevention and tackling historic conflict. Not just on the easy stuff, to be frank, which is about educating or doing that kind of thing. Second, obviously we talk about international aid as though there's some consensus about it. There is a consensus. We created the department when we came to power. Right. We are committed to development around the world, not just charity, but development. Making sure that in 25 years' time, kids that are being born today have a job, have prosperity. Not that they're dependent on aid, but they don't need aid. I think that contrasts very firmly with this government's approach to development, where they view it as the charitable arm of the UK government. And then lastly, what I would say is, here in this country, where are the communities where Somalian young people in particular, historically Somalian young people, have the best chance in life? It's areas where they have representation that understands what it's like to be a migrant community coming to the country for the first time. It's not an easy time to be a migrant community right now. Things have gone backwards in the last 5 years. They haven't gone forwards. But we have always historically enjoyed the support of the Somalian community, not just because we've relied on it, but because we've made opportunities for those people.
Okay, as I asked you earlier, what is the Labour Party want to pledge? There are multiple crises in Somalia. In terms of government, weak government is there, always corrupted government is coming up. And also, we don't have a strong army in Somalia at the moment, as far as we know. The foreign troops, I'm talking about other Africans, there are 26,000 troops. And these troops get billions of dollars from Europeans and Americans and a wider world international community. Why they shouldn't build the same, the troop, why they shouldn't build the Somali troops rather than relying on African Union. And that hurts quite a lot Somalis. It's a shame for us to see foreign troops supporting and protecting by the Somali government. And as far as we know, the Somali soldiers are dying every day in the battleground. So why the UK, for example, why they shouldn't fund it directly to our army and to our government?
Well, look, I do understand the point that you're making, and what I would say is it goes to the heart of what I believe development to be, which isn't just charity, it's actually working to bring people together to solve these problems on a political level as well as a financial level, right? So we could spend all the money we want into essentially what is a black hole if we're not resolving the political problems that are there. What I would say about our interest in that is to ask how can we best work with other countries in the region and work with the Somalian government, which is weakened at this stage, you'd have to accept, to make sure that they've got the capacity to respond to the challenges in their own country. That's what each nation state wants to be able to do, but increasingly we're seeing it's very difficult for them to do it.
Yes.
Okay.
Clan-based political conflict and civil wars in Somalia has affected every Somali, whether they are in the country or outside. Funding clan groups directly is doing presently is not promoting cohesion, peace and stability in the country, encouraging and it encourages separation. What do you believe about the unity of Somalia? I mean, we are federal Somalia, but there are regions that is claiming they want to separate themselves.
Yeah, well, you know, of course we speak about this in a much more peaceful context, but we've recently had a referendum on independence. We've had our own difficulties within Northern Ireland, and otherwise we understand...
Scotland.
Yeah, exactly, Scotland and Northern Ireland in particular. These tensions are difficult to resolve a lot of the time, but I do think that they should be resolved within the countries themselves, and that we have a role to play in making sure that minorities are protected, but also that there's a majority will and consensus for what's there. So, in my opinion, the federal government is a positive step. It moves us in the right direction. It puts us on a place, clear direction of travel. We've also historically recognised that there are parts of Somalia that have their own distinct identities, and I think it's important to reflect that.
Which I come from, although I do believe the unity of Somalia is paramount.
Absolutely.
I come from that region in the north.
And just to say, in my opinion, the most successful nation, think about the most successful union that we've seen in the world, it's probably the United Kingdom, 4 different kingdoms working together as part of a union. It doesn't mean that everything has to be the same, but it means we need to find a political consensus that works there.
Let's come back. Humanitarian crisis. I mean, as far as the Somali diaspora concerned, every family sends money to Somalia and it reaches Somalia directly. What upsets us is we heard from international community giving help to Somalians and trying to help the Somali government, and even the government has been saying we don't get that support from Europeans and United States. We get a little money, but we have been promised to give billions of pounds or dollars or euros to Somalia, and it never reached. Why?
Well, I mean, 2 things there. First of all, as I said to you before, when we were in government, we increased by 10 times the amount of development aid and assistance we were providing to Somalia because we recognised there was a humanitarian threat that was massive there. The second thing is that we've pledged that we would reform the world humanitarian system. There are big holes in it at the moment. You think about the role of the UN in terms of working in country. Think about the different agencies we ask to work there. They don't always work alongside each other. They sometimes even work against each other, so we need to do that as well. That's a hard task, but we've committed to doing it. Absolutely. Lastly, just to say on remittances, as you all know, the amount of money that's being sent back by Somalian community to Somalia is greater than any money that any individual government will give. But you want to make sure that it gets through. So I've worked with people such as Tessa Jowl here in London to try and tackle the high cost of remittances and the money that gets lost in that, and making sure that it does get through and that the most of it gets through. It's a huge issue that most politicians don't know about and don't speak about, but we know about it from our distinct communities. Right,
you told us when you were in government, 3 to 30 million you have increased. Do you think those money was going direct to the Somalia, or it was going NGOs who were
So
operating
often
in
we hear,
Somalia?
yes, in Nairobi we hear a lot of people who are actually have offices in Nairobi. That's where the most of the money being
Goes,
spent, rather than to the
To the
refugee
local.
camps, to the local people.
Well, on the whole, what you've got to say about the entire international aid and development budget is that it is by and large spent incredibly well and focused and targeted. I appreciate the scepticism in many countries that receive aid. There's also scepticism in this country about sending aid, because we buy into the idea that in some way every regime is corrupt, the money disappears and nothing ever gets to the ground. That's why we, on a cross-party basis, set up something called ICAI, the International Commission on Aid Impact, Independent Commission on Aid Impact, to look to see, does the money that we send get to the ground? They've published one quite damning report over a programme in South Africa, which was funded by this government. But other than that, they've done about 40 different reports, all of which show there is really positive results that comes from it. And I think that's fair. You know, if I was a politician saying there's nothing wrong at all, you would say I'm delusional.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, if I buy the line that nothing ever gets through,
you want to know
it
where the
ignores
money
ignores the reality.
So I'm just reminded to our viewers, if you want to put a question on the Shadow Minister, you can call us on that number on the screen, please. We would like to hear from you. I mean, British government gives millions of pounds to Ivrea, to Somalia, and we never see that much about it. We see some of it, but we don't see much about it. So if you have comment about that, please call us that number, and we would like to hear your voice. Let's come back.
Yes, Somalia is coming back and rebuilding slowly. There are entrepreneurs who have already established businesses in Somalia, who are in fact educated in the West. At present, Turkey and China is particularly having trade links in Somalia. What do you think the government in UK government, or in general Britain, should be doing about development or business links in Somalia that will really reduce the exodus we see, the young people coming to the, dying in the sea?
Yeah, absolutely. The issues you talk about there, whenever I travel through Africa, I'm always struck by the number of Chinese people that will be sitting in the airport when I get there. You know, China is working very hard to build links with African countries because they understand their prosperity in 30, 40, 50 years will be directly related to what they can grow or what they can mine from Africa. Now, I have some misgivings about that. I think that what we do should be about building up a community in a country, not seeking to plunder it. And I think in some cases that can be the case. Also, their role of soft loans, where they give money, but it doesn't really help with development. It just builds a building somewhere.
Also, I think bring the workers. Not much of in Sudan. I heard that that's what they do.
If you want to do development, you want to do it with the people of a country. You don't want to do it to the people of a country, because once it goes, that's it. No development left, just a building standing there. So we're trying to do something different. We're trying to build those links and relationships. It's a very difficult task, because without a viable government that is strong, that can protect its own people, it is very, very hard to do the basics right: water, sanitation, education, healthcare. But we need to do both at the same time. In that sense, I think that's the most important thing we can do.
Okay, thank you. There is a caller. Call us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Where you call and give your name, please.
Wa alaikum assalam. Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hello, welcome to the program.
Walaalayaal, waa idin salaamayaa.
She speaks in Somali. Yeah, go on.
waxaan maqashan
Waxaan maqlaynaa.
waxaan leenahay marka meeshaan oo maanta laga hadlayo arrimaha Soomaaliya oo maxay ahayd federalismka, ama micnaheedu inay Soomaaliya ay tahay hal wadan oo wixii dhaqaale ah ama micnaheedu gobolka Soomaaliya loogu talagalay in ay dawladda federaalka ah maanta wadanka ka jirta ay tahay ayadoo mid maamulaysa dhaqaalaha wadanka Soomaaliya loogu talagalay, sida ay gabadha walaasheeya ay ka dhawaajisay gabadha safiicatee aad baan usoo dhaweynaynaa in Soomaaliya xaqeeduna uu yahay, maadaama ay federal system ay tahay oo hal ay tahay Soomaaliya unite tahay, in dhaqaalihii loogu talagalay ama beesha caalamka wixii ay ugu talagashay oo dhaqaale ah oo Soomaaliya lagu caawinayo in ay ku dhacdo hal meel oo ah dawladeena federaalka uu hogaamiyo mudane xasan sheekh maxamuud. dhaqaalahaas oo loogu talagalay inay dawladeena federaalka ah ay u gudbiso maadaama federaal yahay oo maamul goboleedyo ay jiraan si maamul goboleedyada xataa qeybahoodii ay dowladda Soomaaliya.
Okay, thank you. The lady, she's talking about all the international aid comes to the through the Somali government, and it doesn't reach everywhere. So what the government will do if you become next to Labour government, and this is a really very serious. You know, many people are skeptical for the government of Somalia.
There is a federal government.
Yes, and they want it to be shared rather than one area to be sit down.
Well, what I say is there's two ways that we provide support through our international development budget. The first way is direct support, and we do that through individual governments. The second way is obviously through agencies working on the ground. Now, at the moment, despite what people think, the majority of what we do is through costed programs that NGOs deliver within Somalia. It's not budget support. Now, there's an argument, a theoretical argument there. The more
it's undermining actually by giving specific regions direct money, that undermines the whole federal state.
Well, just to say, the more that you give in terms of direct support, the argument goes, the more influence you have over that
Only
government.
one region.
Okay, we come back. There is a caller calls us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And where you calling and your name, please?
Hello. My name is Sahal Yusuf Ali, and I'm calling from London.
Okay, welcome to the program, bro.
Yes. Well, thank you, Duali. I would like to put a question across to the
panel.
The gentleman. Shuka, I would like to ask, we have been British colony for a very long time. We have been abandoned by the British, and they didn't look back. We collapsed as a state, suffered for a very long period, and now they came back to support. But I think they are not engaging the way many expected to engage. I'm particularly concerned about use of hostile status as a door to get through in order to reach out to Somali people. What annoys millions of Somalis across the globe is Europeans and Americans, the British, and the rest trying to get to the Somali people through Ethiopia and Kenya. These are hostile countries that gain from Somali problems. They haven't contributed anything. What is happening on the ground is what is taking people back. I think there are real states that are willing and ready to help our people, like the Turkish. And what the Turkish have done in short space of time is unbelievable compared to the billions of money that has been sent by the international community through Kenya that disappeared in the streets of Nairobi. So would you not be thinking to change your approach and trying to deal with the Somalis directly? I think there is a government there at the moment which is functioning. All you need, if you have concerns like corruption, you need to be on the ground. You need to use your diplomatic mission to engage with the Somali people. You cannot forever say that I cannot send the money because there is a corrupt system there. Okay. I think when there is a will, there is a way. If you really want to help Somali people, you need to engage. Please reconsider your policies. A lot of radicalization is happening because of as a direct result of poverty and confusion and isolation of the people. Okay, I want to see real engagement, not just nominal work. UK is a good government. They have welcomed millions of Somali refugees. We have been given something that nobody else on earth has given. But I think when it comes to foreign aid and engagement with our country, I think there is a lot to criticize.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I think you have to respond for that. I mean, what he's talking about, you know, Somalia is being marginalized. And the hostile, he mentioned hostile states, which is Somalia, Ethiopia, Kenya. There is a land dispute and occupation. Ogaden is under occupation, yes. The Kenya NFD, North District Front, in Kenya, where many Somali in Garis areas, Somali belongs, and there were people were the king of Somalis, and that causes more trouble. I mean, we know when we're talking politics, and Somalia is in hostile for these countries because as long as there is dispute, Ethiopia and other countries, I don't want to mention again, they want to keep Somalia this terrible state rather than allowing Somalia to breathe again. And what we're surprised for Somalia is why the international community like Britain allows Somalia to get visa like Ethiopia or Kenya rather than getting Djibouti. We don't understand, or other countries. So this is making Somalia vulnerable.
Right.
So what is your comment about to change that? Because we want us, even what we have heard, you know, the direct interference from these hostile states, as that gentleman has said. So what is your government, if you become a Labour, what is your strategy for Somalia to make Somalia a stable country, part of international community? Now it's been forgotten, you know. We see every day bombing going off in Mogadishu and nobody talks about it. It's only been blamed the Shabab. We never had other interference. So how are we going to change? When the Britain will start to listen to this, you know, the British Somalians here in UK who are going to vote some of your group or other groups. So what are you going to tell? What are you going to tell today to the British Somalians who really want to see Somalia is working again?
Right, it's a long question.
Okay,
yeah, absolutely.
carry on.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a challenging region to work in. The choice is whether you choose to work in it or you don't.
Yes.
Okay? Nice and straightforward if you choose not to. This government, when they came to power 5 years ago, they took 43 countries, they went down to 28. Because some are too difficult in their minds. Too difficult to work in. Too difficult to have a country office in. Okay?
Yes.
And you see the effect, is that more and more work is happening in satellite from countries that are elsewhere, and it ignores the political reality that's there. Secondly, what has this government done? It's chosen not to deploy a political strategy, but a spending strategy. Okay? If we want to resolve the issues that are there in the region, we can't just work with Somalia, we have to work with its neighbours as well, and put pressure on in the right ways to make sure that there is a stable and viable government in that country.
Even if they're not doing the right thing.
Well, the alternative, of course, is to withdraw our relationship with them entirely and have no influence over the decisions that they do make. These are difficult decisions to be made in government. I am critical of what this government has done in the last 5 years.
Right.
Yes.
And I think the evidence speaks for itself.
I understand, but choosing the neighbours, Somali want to choose rather than, you know, outside the borders. The closer borders, Somalians do not want.
And you said the word choosing, what do you mean by that?
What I'm talking about, other countries like Britain or like Turkey, you know, Turkey has a great influence in Somalia.
For example, what he means is like what the Turkish government done. They do not go around Somalia to get to Somalia. They go direct to Somalia and they deal with the problem then and there, rather than going to Kenya or Ethiopia to do your jobs or the jobs you want to do in Somalia. Trust the Somalis, they can do it. They can do it in a better than Kenyans, better than Ethiopians. They are highly educated people now. The people in UK and Western educated people are there waiting to rebuild back their country. And the best way is to trust the Somali people, to trust unitedly. If you talk to them in different ways, the country doesn't stay.
Let's give it a chance for them to respond. Yeah.
When was the last time you had the International Development Minister on for this government that's been doing work for the last 5 years?
We never had.
Yes.
The answer is because those links with the diaspora community that give you this kind of insight are not available to this current government. It's always been Labour that's worked with the Somali community to understand the situation on the ground, to ask what can make things better. Now, in 2 weeks' time, we all have a choice.
Yeah, inshallah, let's see.
We can have what we have right now, or we can have a team of people that are committed on reforming the humanitarian system so that aid gets to the right places and makes a difference.
Right.
To working not just on spending money, but actually having political solutions to problems, not ignoring them. To working with the diaspora community to understand their needs and the issues that matter to them, whether it's remittances or the political reality that's there, as well. That is the choice at this election.
Absolutely.
And people have got to come out and vote for it.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Vote for it.
There's a caller. Call us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And where are you calling and what's your name, please? Hello, assalamu alaikum. Hello, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program, sister.
Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Zainab. I'm from London.
Okay, Zainab. Yeah, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. My question is, me and my family all support Labour Party. So my question is, if you lot win, what are you lot going to do to stop? Because everybody knows the history between Somaliland and Britain, and the way Somaliland improved for the 20 years. They improved by government. They got universities, they got hospitals, they got government, they got rules and laws. So I was thinking, would Labour help Somaliland? Because they improved, and every year you can see the improvement. So what Labour will do for Somaliland? Will they get the recognition? That's my question.
Okay.
Well, I think before the sister starts, I think you can say, I can understand, but truly is politicians are trying to divide Somalians, and they want to make their own business. As far as I know, Somali people are brothers, they're Muslims. Another thing, these political, let me finish, these political, some people are blaming, they playing a big political in Somalia. But truly, Somali people feels brothers and sisters in these regions. Majority of Somalia want to always unite and work together.
Yeah,
so
when we are abroad, we are always sisters and brothers. In Somalia, everybody wants to, for example, we're talking about Somaliland here. There is a big, huge region called Somaliland. That lady, I respect her, but she's talking about Hargeisa, nowhere else. There are a lot of regions in Somalia so-called Somaliland.
We come back that another day.
Where I come from.
We don't want to mention anything. I'm afraid for that. What is your response? She asked you that, lady.
Well, just to say, we've historically recognised the significance of the group of people that live in Somaliland.
So many groups, yes.
Sure, right. But we've recognised that as a government historically, and we recognise it in opposition as well. What I would say is no one can want a peaceful solution to the distinct representations of different groups within one country more than those people themselves. Okay?
Like Britain did last year, the 17th of November.
Which is why I believe that federal government is the best route forward. It gives us the best route to go forwards on this. Absolutely. At the same time, you've got to accept there has been significant progress in that region.
Absolutely.
And we don't want to lose that and go backwards.
Yes. Absolutely. If you have another caller, yes. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Where are you calling? What's your name, bro?
Salam alaikum. Salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Welcome to the program. Yeah, go on.
We know that 40% of the population, of Somali population, is in poverty. 2.4 million people are currently in need of humanitarian assistance. Nearly 2/3 of the Somali population is under 25. Schooling is difficult and has not reached the capacity we need to have. Disabled children are stigmatized in rural areas, though the government of Somalia have tried hard to help and establish schools for the deaf in different areas of Somalia. What does the Labour government have for Somalia? What is the budget allocated for Somalia? Okay. That's the question I would like to ask. And we already know that the Conservative government in particular has been instrumental in helping to bring peace and security back to Somalia.
Okay, Kevin is listening to your question, and what's your answer, Kevin?
Well, just to say, we will do a full in-country review when we come to power, hopefully in a couple of weeks' time, in that first year. But we're committed to the current spend that's going on in Somalia. We're not going to withdraw.
She was asking how much money you have allocated to Somalia.
Sure, I talked to you before about the increase. We're talking about 3 to 30 million. It's kind of in line with that. So we're not looking to change that at this stage, but we are going to review within the first year of a Labour government each individual in-country programme and how best to spend. Just to say though, let me let me just gently push back on that caller who says that everything has been great in the last 5 years under a Conservative government, as though having a Conservative government here has resulted in massive change in Somalia. I haven't seen that in the same way. What I do think is you've got to focus on the fundamentals, right? Is it political leadership or just the charitable arm of the UK government? Is it working in conjunction with defence and the Foreign Office? Or is it working in a silo? We've seen the role of DFID really downgraded. These are the questions that people need to ask as they go to the polls in 2 weeks' time, and I do hope they'll vote Labour.
Okay, before you go, I mean, millions of Somalis are watching tonight, and Somalis are Labour Party supporters. So what is your pledge if you win as a international development?
How would you tell them to vote for you first?
What is your pledge before they vote for you? What is your pledge for Somalia? Because Somalia is most difficult place at the moment.
We made international development a core part of what we did when we came to power in 1997. In 1996, there was no Department of International Development. It took a political change, an election, and a commitment to do that.
Labour started.
We dragged the Lib Dems and the Tories in behind us, and now they back our 0.7% that we spend elsewhere. That's the commitment that we're going to carry on through. But to give you a specific example of how the difference makes, we've said that we will train the world in how to do universal healthcare so that every part of the world is protected in that way. We're pushing for ambitious action on climate change, on women and girls, on the rights, on human rights and education, women in education in particular, in a global deal that affects all countries around the world. This is the kind of positive stance we need. Not talking about pulling out of Europe or upsetting other foreign nations or slinking back. That's what Labour offers, and it's consistently offered it. There's no future for us as a country that isn't pro-international and pro-reform, and that's what we want to do in Somalia.
So what's your message to the audience and viewers today?
Please do come out and vote on May the 7th. It makes a massive difference. In your own community, your Labour representative needs your support. And many people assume that we are okay in safe Labour areas. It only is safe if people come out and vote.
Yes.
So make sure you're registered and make sure you vote.
I'm sorry, we're going to leave that because Kevin wants to leave and he has other things to do. I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Kevin, and we say see you. We want to see you again.
Thank
I want to thank to our sister. We would like to hear your voices to be heard, inshallah. And if you want to be participating in British politics, don't miss on the 7th May 2015. That is the decision day for the British people, and you must be part of it.
I'm for Somalia too.
Don't moan after that. 7th May is the day we want all of you to it.
Get out and vote, all of you.
We're gonna leave you, Kevin.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and we hope to see you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So daawadayaasha qiimaha leh barnaamijku wuu dhamaanayaa baan leeyahay marka waxaan rajaynaynaa okay qofkii gudba okay waxaa leeyahay barnaamijku dhamaaday inta aan barnaamijka mid lamid aan ku kulmi doono insha Allah waqtigu dhamaaday anigoo ducaala waxaa gal qayb qaatay Kevin oo kamid ahaa Labour Party International Development Minister iyo walaashay Safiya Cali Caatay aad iyo aad baan idin ugu mahadcelinayaa intiina la soo wacday insha Allah next week baan rajaynaynaa mid kale inaanu keeno intaan dib is maqli doono waxaan ka rajaynaynaa insha Allah waxaan doonaynaa dawladana ogeysiyo aan ilmaamay dhibaatooyin aad u fara badan ayaa waxay ka socdaan wadankaasi South Africa oo dad fara badan ayaa lagu dilay waxaan rajaynaynaa in aanu sameeyno insha Allah banaanbaxan ugu talagalnay arimaha in lagu xaliyo telefishinka ayaa nagala socon doonta waxaan rajaynaynaa next Saturday ka dhigno this Saturday tamo soo socota duu ilaahdo marka dadweynaha Soomaaliyeed meel kasta joogan ha nagala socdaan sidaa iyo anigoo ducaala nabadgelyo assalaamu calaykum waraxmatullaahi wabarakaatuh